Okay gang, we'll keep this to be a quick one. I just learned that if you select multiple commits in your history here in GitHub desktop, it'll show you all the changes at once, which is pretty dang useful. This one right here is colossal, and that's mostly because this isn't code you actually see. This is the scene file, and the reason this is so big, I think, is because it's dealing with the navigation mesh, which I'll get back to. The player itself has a scene. The new thing is the capsule that I added to obfuscate that the model there is Olimar. Here's the actual scripts. I added this on carryable reach destination, which broadcasts a signal. So basically when something carried reaches its destination, it can say, hey man, I'm here. And then its destination can do something. For example, if the weight of the item was brought to an onion, we could call Pikmin to spawn and then pass in that weight, which it sends up, which is pretty cool. And then we would spawn that many Pikmin if it were at the onion. You could have it do other things at other destinations. It doesn't really do anything yet. The carryable item itself, I added code for what to do when it reaches its destination. For each Pikmin in it, it detaches the Pikmin and has the Pikmin sit idle. And then once it does all of those, it emits its signal, like the one I just described. This is like a listener. This is connected to the signal, which is emitted by the item itself. And then finally, queue free, which acts like a delete, which isn't exactly what we'd want. Obviously, we'd want it to be something more like an animation, but we're cutting corners because we're keeping it simple. And then there's a handful of other things here in order to get it move adequately. And then the Pikmin themselves, I was goofing with the nav mesh. That was the main theme this week. And then I added a little log there, and then also we had to make sure that they are set to idle when they are done. And the player itself had to do a little bit more. Add Pikmin to idle. The player currently is kind of like the Pikmin manager, as in when a Pikmin is set to idle, that has to be done by the player because the player has the reference to the idle container, which is just a way to sort the idle Pikmin. Whatever. Added a few more logs. I changed the name of the skin so that the Pikmin has a better reference. But that's pretty much it for the code. So what you're looking at here is the nav mesh. That was the difficult thing this week. The navigation region, I should say, is this thing that kind of contains the entire map. And you can see this is kind of insane. Which is why the file change was so complicated. But I added these walls and these balls to walk around to see if this carryable item here could be routed around. And long story short, it can. But sometimes the Pikmin would get stuck on these seams between the nav mesh. And that would be very frustrating because there's nothing obviously in their way. And I still couldn't figure out why that was happening. However, I eventually found that the nav region has a ton of variables. And I found that the max length of edge, when I changed this, that seemed to fix it. So I can't say exactly why that happened, but either way, we're looking pretty good here, so I'd like to show you a quick demo. So you can see I kind of look like an Amogus here, and it's not centered. It's a little embarrassing, but whatever. So we can grab that guy, and we'll need just a few more. I can use my controller to zoom out the camera. Now the awkward thing is this wall does not affect me, it only affects them. And you'll notice they don't think to go around the wall until their carry point is on the other side of the wall, but they figure it out. So this is evidence that they can do pathfinding. Obviously, them traveling in a perfect straight line is a little awkward. Maybe there's a way we can have them bump into each other in the future. But either way, we give them this item, and we can see that they can smell their way home. Now, there's a little bit of corner cutting, but again, this is just a rough demo. And these big orbs here aren't too distracting. You can see those guys know to go around it, even though I can go through it. And obviously, that's a little silly. But let's not get distracted here. Here's the real beef of it. If you've played Pikmin, this is the bread and butter. Them carrying the stuff back is the main goal. Obviously, there should be obstacles and nonsense in the way, but this is just a development test. And when they get there, pop, the item would have an animation getting absorbed into the ship or what have you, and then you can whistle them back, and then it's like nothing ever happened. And if there were more carryables, we'd be able to carry them. So let's keep it simple like that. So yeah, the nav mesh was the hardest part this week, but hopefully we'll be carrying that watermelon soon. The next idea is to have, when a carryable comes back to an onion, which I don't have present in the scene here, it should spawn in seed Pikmin. And I suppose the easiest thing to do prior to that would be to make seed Pikmin, and when you run up to them and press A, they come out of the ground. We're getting close, folks, I think. So thanks for following along for this quick one here. Oh, and I almost forgot, I am on the fence about doing weekly videos if there isn't that much to share. This one felt a little small for me, but I said I would do weekly videos. It keeps me motivated, so I thought I'd put this one out there. So if you're watching this and you feel inclined to comment, I'd love to hear from you if you think that I should skip a week if I don't have as much to say. Let me know in the comments. Thanks.